Alright, what's up you guys? I am here with my AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view review. Now, I'm not going to go through each match and, give you every move, every highlight. I'm going to give my star ratings, and then I really do want to get into, instead of really the matches, more the idea and really the implications of this pay-per-view. So, we had the 22-man Casino Battle Royal on the pre-show. This went 16 minutes, and we had Adam Page by last eliminating MJF. So, I gave this match 3 stars. It was decent. It actually wasn't really as good as I thought it was going to be. And I really liked the over-the-budget Battle Royal at All In. So, I really preferred that Battle Royal, personally. And then we had Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara singles match. I gave this 3 1/4. I thought it was a really decent singles match, and I guess you want to say this is the first singles match in AEW. So there's always going to be that kind of honorary distinguishment, I guess you want to call it. So those were the 2 pre-show matches. Really nothing to write home about, but it was still decent. Okay, then we get to the main show. We had 6-man tag team match. SoCal Uncensored, which is Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel, huge fan of his. Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. So pretty much a TNA tag team, which is cool. And then they defeated the Strong Hearts. This went 13 minutes and 40 seconds. And I gave this 3 1/4. I thought it was kind of slow at some points. And not in like a pacing way. It just felt like some of the action was a little just kind of slow and like not in a methodical psychology way. I don't know. I mean, these guys are up there in age, so you can kind of see that. I mean, they still have it, trust me. This was a really entertaining match. I just felt like maybe I don't know if it wasn't planned out 100% or if they were calling it in the ring. So it just kind of seemed a little messy, but I really did enjoy this. It's great to see these 3 teaming together again. I haven't actually seen these 3 in a long time, personally, so I really enjoyed that. The Fatal 4-Way match, this was a women's match. Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose, Kylie Ray, and then Brandy Rose came out and actually announced Awesome Kong, aka Karma, in WWE for her, 2 matches? But yeah, Awesome Kong, who was, obviously a huge TNA star. I remember she used to have her open challenges. She'd pull people from the crowd for the women's title in TNA. Good stuff. And the crowd really popped for her. This went 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And I gave this 3 stars. I did enjoy this match. And I don't think it was the stronger of the women's matches, but, I did enjoy this for what it was. Awesome Kong looks great, and, right now I'm really a lot of this roster, I don't follow the indies as much as you think I would. So a lot of this roster I'm really getting used to, and that's kind of one of the themes of this show. I'm really excited to see where this roster goes. It's almost a bit of everything. You have old WWE guys, you have old TNA guys, you had AAA on here, some New Japan. So there's some really cool stuff on here. I think we had some AEW too, so yeah. And then we had Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, for everyone that remembers Trent Beretta, versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Tag team match, 12 minutes and 35 seconds. I gave this one 3 1/4. I think this was one of the weaker tag team matches on the card. I don't know, it seemed like this first half of the show was inferior to the second half. Highly inferior. And that's not a bad thing. It just felt like we got too many tag matches. I feel like it could have been paced differently. Because you have the first 4 matches of the main show are or multi-man tag team matches. So, well, technically, there's not a singles match until the 5th match on the main card. So I think maybe you could have paced that a little better. And so yeah, it just kind of felt a little stale at this point by the time we got to the next match. But it really picked up. And I mean it hardcore picked up. We had a 6-women tag team match with, let's see here. I'm going to try to pronounce all these. Hikaru Shida, Riho Abe, Ryo Mizunami versus Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. This was a really entertaining women's match. This was the best women's match on the card. This was a 6-woman tag team match. This went 13 minutes and 10 seconds, and I gave this 4 stars. It's really cool. I had one really instant thought in this match. You know, JR obviously was on commentary, which was just so cool to see that again. That made me so happy. And it was just interesting because this isn't the type of action you normally see him calling. You know, I'm so used to him calling WWF or WWE action. So just to see him in this environment was really cool. And, you know, the best of him came out again tonight. But I remember thinking that during this match, because he had, you know, not many people would know he has a lot of knowledge of Japanese wrestling. And here we go, you know. I was really impressed with Kong. You know, I know she's a huge star in other promotions, and, you know, she kind of blew me away. She was a great kind of irresistible force, kind of, you know. So it was really cool. And this match, you know, I love Japanese wrestling. I'm not biased towards Japanese wrestling, but, you know, I definitely enjoy it a lot. So, you know, a little bit of everything on this card. I highly enjoyed this match. 4 stars. And I think this was, for me, a really fun match. And then we have Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. So it's a.k.a. Gold Dust or Dustin Runnels, whatever you know him as. And Brandy Rhodes was out as well. And what was really interesting here, a lot of people have been talking about this, the not-so-subtle jabs at WWE all night. They've made a reference to the attendance figures, which, that's just great. But then here we had Cody was handed a sledgehammer by Brandy. He went up to what highly resembled Triple H's throne, and he smashed it with the sledgehammer. He did the pose with the sledgehammer. A little bit of pyro went off when he hit the throne. Yeah, I actually didn't think... You know, I'll talk way more about this at the end. Like I said, this review is more about implication, because I do want to get into that. I didn't think this was going to be so jabby towards WWE, and I think it's very clear that there's a war. I really didn't think there would be, at least not for a while, not until October at least, but they're really trying to compete here. And, you know, I feel like maybe they focused a little bit too much on taking jabs at WWE. I'm perfectly fine with competition. That's what we fucking need. We have needed this for years and years and years. But I really feel like this night you really needed to establish your product and maybe wait for the jabs later on. Maybe do a few, but I don't know, maybe you understand the idea here. Trust me though, someone that's been frustrated with WWE for the past decade, even longer than a decade, the jabs were good to see. So, this match was phenomenal. This went 22 minutes and 30 seconds. 4.25 stars is what I gave it. And, you know, we saw something that I have wanted, once again, for so long, in an American professional wrestling company. We got a blade job. And this was a pretty nasty blade job. You know, Dustin got cut open on the exposed turnbuckle. Very old school. I loved it. And we had Brandy. She threw water in his face. She was, fucking with him basically from ringside, and she got ejected by Earl Hebner, who was the referee. So cool to see him again. He actually looked in good shape. He looked like he lost a bunch of weight. So that was cool to see. Or maybe it was just his twin brother. Who knows? But, yeah, Earl Hebner, it's great to see him again. And it's also great to see Bret Hart again, who presented the AEW title. So that was cool as well. Surprised me to see him actually appearing on the show. But anyway, this match reminds me of why I fell in love with professional wrestling. This had old school heat. This had just such great psychology. It told a story. And this, for me, was always a dream match. I've always wanted to see this. Fuck Fastlane 2015. God, this was a phenomenal match. This is what that should have been. And this really, like I said, this really captures what made me a wrestling fan when I was a kid. This match gave me a feeling that I haven't felt in so long. And I'm going to be honest. This show, a lot of the times I can forget why I'm a wrestling fan. And for people probably my age or older, you might understand that statement. Being constantly frustrated with WWE's product. Being an old school TNA fan, obviously that went downhill pretty quick around like 2009 and 10. This was fresh. But we'll talk more about that at the end. But yeah, Cody Rhodes got the win here. This is a bloody-ass match, and I always love blood, I think blood can add to a match, as long as it's not, senseless blood for no reason. If you're going to bleed, have a good reason, and this one did. It told a story with it. And I'm going to be honest, I've waited for blade jobs for so long. I think that adds to a match automatically, because it gives it more a sense of reality and kind of raises the stakes. So, phenomenal. And then we had the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, defeating the Lucha brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix. So, the Young Bucks, they're kind of growing on me. It kind of took a while, to be honest, because I think they are a bit of spot monkeys, in a way. Like, I understand their popularity and everything, but it kind of bothers me when you make wrestling look a little too fake. Like Kenny Omega fighting a 9-year-old girl. Stuff like that. Or the Joey Ryan dick flip, whatever the hell it is. Stuff like that. So I feel like the Young Bucks, they felt a little more grounded in this match. And, I understand their criticism. I was never really the biggest fan of the Young Bucks either. But, the more I watch them, the more I can definitely appreciate them. This match was awesome. This went, 24 minutes and 55 seconds. So this was the longest match in the card. And this was for the AAA World Tag Team titles. So we got some AAA title action here. I gave this match 4.5 stars. There's a lot of people giving this 5 stars. No. But this was definitely a great match. This is, JR said, tag team action, tag team wrestling can be great. And this is an example of how it can be great. So, yeah, maybe there were a little too many false finishes. Maybe a little too many spots. But it's entertaining. I'm just not going to give this 5 stars. I just really don't agree with that. But, I know a lot of people like Dave Meltzer, and I'm not giving Dave Meltzer shit, but I feel like a lot of the times, I'm not saying he's biased, but I feel like the Young Bucks are a little overrated when it comes to star ratings and just kind of how much people love them. Like, I understand why you love them. It's just they need to convince me a little more. I just need to watch a little more They're definitely one of the best tag teams in the world, but I prefer old school wrestling, and if you're gonna do spots, I prefer there to be a reason. But whatever. The main event, we had Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. So I think this is their third time facing, because we had one in New Japan, which that was a great match. Then they had one on the Jericho Cruise, if I remember correctly. And here we are again. I think this is weaker, a lot weaker than the New Japan match, unfortunately. I gave this 3 3/4 stars. But, it's entertaining. Chris Jericho had a really cool entrance where he actually went through, like, the history of his character. You had Y2J, you had, like, 2012 with the light-up jacket, you had the list. So, this was cool. He came out to Judas, which is a really good song from him. So, it's an entertaining match. Chris Jericho got the win, which actually surprised me. I thought Omega was going to get the win. And then after the match, we had the moment, which I kind of predicted. I think a lot of people saw this coming. Dean Ambrose, or I should say, Jon Moxley, came out of the crowd, gave a couple dirty deeds, he even gave it to the ref, and then he put Kenny Omega on one of the giant poker chips on the stage, and gave him like an FU, or attitude adjustment type move, onto the stage, which, beautiful spot. But yeah, Jon Moxley, I'm excited. I'm a huge Jon Moxley fan. Not a Dean Ambrose fan, but I'm a Jon Moxley fan, trust me. CZW, I love Jon Moxley. And everyone knows, why he left WWE. And I really hope, from what I've heard, Vince was pissed about it. But, good for Jon Moxley. Good for him. I feel like he deserves it. He deserves his time to shine. He's not here to fucking carry Roman Reigns. I'm just going to put it that way. Let him be himself. Let him be creative. Let him be who he wants to be. So I'm excited for Jon Moxley in the future. Yeah. When it comes to the entire pay-per-view, obviously I'm going to give this a letter grade. I'm not going to quite, maybe I'm being a little harsh here, but I'm not going to quite give it the spectacular treatment that everyone else has been, but I'm going to give it a B+. This was a great pay-per-view. I think the undercard was lacking a little bit, some pacing issues. The production was decent. There was some kind of splotchy camera work here and there, but it's the first show. I'm not going to knock it for having production issues. It really didn't have that many issues. I just felt like they're really getting the hang of it. They're getting the feel for things. They're seeing what they want to do and how they want to do it. And I give them credit for that. Try new things. If it doesn't work out, do something else. So they're in the learning process. This is their first pay-per-view under the AEW name. I can't knock them for that. For a first pay-per-view, they fucking hit a home run, caught it, and then hit another one. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for what's to come. I'm interested in seeing how WWE responds. And, I'm sure a lot of you noticed, I didn't review Money in the Bank. I have no interest in their pay-per-views anymore. I have been a frustrated WWE fan for the past decade. Obviously, I'll always collect the DVDs. I'll be a kind of casual WWE fan. Obviously, I don't want WWE to fail. I want competition, because that's what's going to bring out a better product on both ends. So, WWE's not going anywhere. They're financially set. They got the Saudi Arabia money, and they got the Fox deal. They're fine. So, people ask me, oh, is WWE going out of business? Of course not. But hopefully this promotes a better product. Because, I'm obviously sick of WWE. And I want them to be good again. I want this to be a fun war, like the Monday Night Wars were, that's when wrestling, a lot of people would say, was at its best. So we'll see. I do think this is the start of a new era, and this did really awaken the wrestling fan that's been inside me for so long, wanting a better product. So let me know what you guys think down below. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the DVD Freak. Peace out.